From the Crush Studio in sunny Florida, this is the Disney Crush Podcast. And now your two tempests in a teacup, Dave and Toni-Ann.
On this week's The Disney Crush Podcast, Standby Skipper. What's that? A way to hack Genie Plus? We will talk to a new friend, Danielle, and learn about her experience using Standby Skipper on her last trip. Episode 337 of the Disney Crush Podcast is starting now. So I got in trouble with my co-host last week.
Really?
Because I said 335 several times. I didn't just say it once. I said it several times that it was episode 335, but it was really episode 336. So
that's okay.
This week, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's fine. No one's gonna care. They're gonna whatever. You don't get done. And I wasn't upset. I was just like, hey, just to make sure you get it right this time. Just want to make sure you get it right.
This week is 337.
Yeah, this week is 337. Yes.
We want to give you credit for every episode, Dave. We don't want to, lose one in your account. So this is 337. We're going to talk about Standby Skipper with Danielle, and she's going to join us shortly. But there was a lot of news this week, and a lot of stuff went on. So you and I are going to talk for a little while before she gets here. Test Track is closing June 17th. Do you care?
Oh, finally. God, could they just take it away or make a whole new ride or something?
Yeah, they're reimagining it. But my friend Josh had talked about that a couple of times, that they're reimagining Test Track. He also talked about the reimagining of Dino Land at the last several D23 type expos and Destination D23. And it seems that they have settled on kind of Latin America, South America theme. I think they're going with. Looks like they're going to have that Encanto house based on this little preview that they put on Instagram. It was a very, very short snippet of all the Imagineers who traveled down to South America to study the architecture and the landscape, and we will see. So that's exciting. They're gonna pave Paradise. No, they're gonna pave the parking lot, because Dino Land's a parking lot, and they're gonna put up Paradise. So it's the opposite of Joni Mitchell. So they're gonna pave the parking lot and put up Paradise, because it's gonna be like tropical. That's what they called it. Tropic America. Tropical America. The Tropic Americas.
Okay.
I don't know. But that's what
anything besides Dino Land, I guess, will be a plus.
There will not be kangaroos.
Okay.
In that area.
Kangaroos
Just
don't belong
in tropical America. Right.
Tropical
That's why I can confidently say there will be no kangaroos in that area. Unlike around the Tree of Life, where there are in fact kangaroos. In case
I have not yet seen said kangaroos, so I don't know. The jury's still out on that one.
Yeah. So the internet or the Facebook has gone crazy this week with speculation, because Disney didn't even really announce anything. They changed their policy regarding the disability access service. And when you go to the Disney website, they're now saying Walt Disney offers a variety of programs to assist guests in accessing attraction queues. Some of the programs listed below are able to help guests maximize time spent in the park. So they're saying you should get an ECV, you should bring a sensory calming toy, you should use Rider Switch. But the Disability Access Service is one of the programs offered at Walt Disney World. It is intended to accommodate those guests who, due to developmental disability like autism or similar, and are unable to wait in a conventional queue for an extended time. Guests may have a conversation with a cast member to determine eligibility for DOS via a live video chat. There is not an option for in-person DAS registration. That is new. I have always done Michael's DAS in the park because in the beginning, when they first started doing these online chats, the queue would take like 8 hours, and I just never did it. It was just easier for me, especially as a local, to just stop at guest services. I have gotten some of the advanced return times, but I've never found them to be valuable for the way I tour the park, because I don't know what time I'm getting there, and I'm probably not going to still be there at 5:00 when the Living with the Land Fast Pass is available. So I usually never use those two predetermined return times. It says, please note, guests visiting from April 9th through May 18th through May 19th will continue to visit guest relation locations for any accessibility related help. So this starts May 20th. And you have to call. You have to go do the video chat. I already predict that on May 20th, the world's going to crash.
Oh,
the Disney website's going to crash.
Yeah, Memorial weekend's coming up. We got, it's going to be a cluster. And you think you were waiting for a long time before? Mm-hmm. Oh, watch this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone on May 20th is going to lose their ever-loving minds because people are going to start getting denied. People that have been getting the DOS are going to start getting denied. So here's the thing that I've heard. I've heard that one of the problems with the DOS is that since Genie Plus and people have to, in essence, pay for fast passes now, more and more people have learned about the Disability Access Service and have started using it. And here's the thing. This service has been around for many years. There used to be called the GAC, the Guest Assistance Card. Michael had a red card, and it would give him automatic access to the Fast Pass line with no waiting. That was ruined because people took advantage of it. People were renting themselves out as guides and using that magic pass to go through fast pass lines. And people were paying them like hundreds of dollars a day to be guides.
In essence, they're a VIP tour guide.
Right. So that nixed that system. That system went away several years ago, and we got the Disability Access Service, which started as a card that they would write a return time on the card for you. It was like a red card, and it had a couple of slots, and they would write on it until that card was full, and then you'd have to get a new card. Then with the advent of My Disney Experience getting more getting better, My Disney Experience has gotten better over the last 10 years. They started incorporating the DOS into My Disney Experience, where you didn't have to go up to the line anymore. You could just make them yourselves using My Disney Experience, the way you used to make a fast pass on your phone back in the day. So that was great when they started doing that, because it used to be really a problem for me with Mike when he was little, because we'd have to walk over to Toy Story Mania, for example, talk to a cast member, and the cast member would put a return time on a card for him. And then we'd have to walk away. And for some kids, they don't understand why, Mommy, we're in front of Toy Story Mania. We're going to ride it now, right? No, we're going to ride it in 2 hours, So that was problematic for me. I always felt like they needed a centralized location to get a return time. And then they got the Blue Umbrellas. And that's exactly what the Blue Umbrellas did. They would give you a return time. And then, even better than the Blue Umbrellas, they gave you the power in your own hand to make your return times. So Genie Plus came around, and people were having to essentially pay for fast passes. A lot of people didn't want to pay for fast passes, and a lot of people started to find reasons to get the Disability Access Service Pass. And there are lots of valid reasons. A lot of people use it because of bathroom issues, because they have IBS and it hits them out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they gotta go. When they gotta go, they gotta go. And they might have been in line for 90 minutes, and now they're almost to the front and they gotta go to the bathroom right now, or they're gonna lose it. That, in my mind, has always been a valid reason to have it. And you know what? Who am I to judge why anybody uses it or needs it? Anxiety. People get claustrophobic in the lines. Heat stroke. People can't be out in the sun. There are people who are on chemo who definitely can't be out in the sun. So there are a plethora of reasons why somebody may qualify. Reasons that I'm probably not mentioning here, that I'm not even thinking of. And so it's not my place to say who qualifies. Disney has never asked for a doctor's note because it gets into a sketchy area with privacy laws and people's medical history. I mean, you know, you're telling Joe, the 20-year-old guest services attendant, that you have to use the bathroom every 10 minutes, and you might be embarrassed to do that. So anyway, people started to find reasons to get this pass. From a quote that I saw this week, those lightning lanes, I still call them fast pass lanes, the lightning lanes, Disney says, and I don't know if this is a confirmed statistic, but I've seen it several times in the literature I've read this week, that 75% of the people in the lightning lanes are there with a DAS return time, with a Disability Access Service return time. If you don't know, you may not know that the Disability Access Service, what happens is essentially when you get a return time, you're getting whatever the wait time is minus 10 minutes. So if the wait time for Flight of Passage is 90 minutes, the program, in my Disney experience, will give you a return time 80 minutes later, because they figure you're going to have to wait in the fast pass, the lightning lane, for 10 minutes. So they're essentially, you still have to wait 90 minutes to ride, but you don't have to do it in the queue. You can do it in the bathroom. You can do it while you sit on a bench. You can do it while you go see a character, or while you go ride something else, or while you're making use of filler magic. 75% of the people in that line were using the DOS. Universal uses a different system now. Universal, a couple years back, I don't know how long it's been actually, but I heard about it a while back. They use a third party. You have to go online and apply, and you have to show some documentation of why you need this service. And it's like a national database. You get basically a license. It's not a license, but it's a card that says, I'm Toni-Ann Zarcone. I have IBS and I need to get in the lightning lane at Disney, at Universal, the express lane. And Universal's been using that for a little while now. People rumored that Disney was going to do the same thing. They were going to go to this national database, third party. I don't know why they decided not to. I don't know why they didn't, because this database is, once you get this card, I don't know how it works with expiration and stuff like that, but it would kind of clean Disney's hands of the whole thing. If you don't have the card, you can't get in the line. So I don't know why Disney decided not to go that way. It may be because of, Dave, they told people for how long you need a reservation to get into a park, and people were still showing up every day without reservations to the park trying to get in. So it's possible that Disney realized that they were going to have people showing up. People would show up and not be registered with this database and not have a card and still need the service. And with this, it's my understanding that if you don't sign up for the DOS online, they're going to give you the website. If you arrive and you're not signed up, they're going to give you the website and you're going to have to go off in a corner and still do the video conference. So
that could take a whole day. Mm-hmm.
Well, but at least they'll have a way to get somebody registered on site when they show up because they're not Disney freaks who have their ear to the ground 24/7 about everything that happens at Disney.
Well, you know what? Part of me, I kind of agree with all of what they're doing, because every time you get something like this, somebody abuses it, and then that's what happens. And obviously they have a way of keeping track, because they have their computers, they have their little right there when you walk up, so they know how many people are coming, and they've probably seen an uptick since Genie Plus. And
Absolutely.
And Hanover in his back office said, look, we got to stop this right now because this is causing problems. We've noticed it in the lines. The lightning lanes have gotten so long now. It's sometimes it's no difference. You're still standing, even though you have a return time, you're still standing that line for a long time.
So Disney has said that they are going to have a return to the queue program for certain people if they find that they need to leave the line for some reason. And I'm assuming that is the bathroom people for the most part, but it might be other people. We don't know what Disney's going to say. And anybody who says otherwise at this point is speculating. Disney has not told us what the plan is yet. They have not said. They say on the website, disabilities like autism and others. So the and others is tremendous. It's a giant umbrella. It could be anything. And I think it's going to be a case-by-case basis. I think it's going to be that if you have a certain disability, you may qualify or you may not, depending on what your specific needs are. And if it's bathroom related, I have a feeling they are going to tell you that you have to use this return to the queue system. Disney has tested this, a similar program in the past. I remember when Flight of Passage first opened, there were little lanyards. If you had to leave the line to go to the bathroom, you would tell a cast member, they would give you a lanyard, you would leave the line, and then when you came back, you would go through the fast pass lane, the lightning lane, and you would wait at the merge point for your family who's still in standby to catch up with you. And then you would go on with your family. That's one possible answer, but you're going to have the individuals, people who are traveling solo. They're not going to have a family to meet at the merge point. So they just go through the fast pass. And so what's to stop me from saying, oh my God, I got to go to the bathroom, and then leaving the line and getting right in the lightning lane line. So there's going to be that. So I don't know. There's people like me and Mike. I can't leave the line. Michael can't leave the line without me to go to the bathroom. So if it's just the two of us, we're both going to have to leave the line. So we're going to have to, what are they going to do in that case? They're going to have to think it through. I know that is a possible program they may use, because they've done it in the past where you get a little lanyard that says, I have to go potty. They may, based on where you are in the line, they may give you a paper ticket with a return time that says, come back. You can use Lightning Lane in 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And they've used these paper tickets. They used to use them for return times. They use them at Jungle Cruise. When you try to get on with a wheelchair, they say, oh, come back in 40 minutes and we'll get you on with the wheelchair. And they give you a little paper ticket. So that may be what they do for those people that have to leave the line and don't have people in standby with them. I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to know. I think we'll see. The only thing I know for sure is that the phone lines are going to be insane on May 20th. As a matter of fact, when this all hit Facebook the other day, the disability page on the Disney website had a phone number for any questions. Call blah, 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 407, That phone line went down so fast that they had to redo the webpage. They took the phone number off the webpage and they put an email address. For any questions, email Disney Guest Services. If that's any indication of what this is going to be like on May 20th, and guess who has a trip on June 5th and needs to call on May 20th? Me. Yeah. So we'll see. I may call a few days later when they get all the kinks out. And after I hear how some of these calls go, because we have friends that have different disabilities that are not autism, that are bathroom related or heat stroke related or anxiety related. And we're just going to have to see what they tell them.
Yeah, it should
I
be
don't know,
interesting.
but I think it's the scammers and the abusers that ruin it for everyone.
Well, that's usually the way it goes.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I kind of figured. I'm surprised something hasn't happened before now.
Yeah. So it's just interesting that they decided not to go with the program Universal's using, but I see why, because the program that Universal uses is kind of it's a national database, like I said, and it's kind of was put into place for these smaller regional parks. I don't know if Cedar Fair uses them. I'd have to check with Dan Austin, but that's where we stand. That's all we know. Disney has not given us any other information except all of this is going to hit the fan on May 20th. I feel bad for the people that will be there that week that are using DOS. And then what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to get on the phone from their hotel room so they could get back in the next day. I don't know how they're going to accommodate those people.
Yeah, it's going to be a cluster. You know what?
Right. If you're on vacation from the 17th to the 23rd, that's kind of stinky. So it'll be interesting. And the other thing is they're changing the party size. Currently, you can make a return time for 6 people, the holder of the pass plus 5. They're saying that they're going to limit it to 4 people now, unless it is immediate family, meaning same household but okay. Families come in all shapes and sizes. So we're going to have to see how strict they are with that. You're going to say, I'm coming with my family and grandma. And because grandma lives next door or down the street or even across the country, you're not going to let grandma ride with the kids. So we're going to see how that works. Limiting it to 4 people is kind of tough. I'm coming with Mandy in June. That's going to be 5 of us, me and Mike and Mandy and her 2. So how's that going to work? We're not going to get to ride together. So we'll have to see what they tell us, because I consider Mandy family. So I don't know.
I'm sorry, ma'am. She's not family. You're going to have to get out of the line now.
We're going to have to see. Much. And then the things we use the blue umbrellas for now, like we add people to our passes. Are they going to be allowed to still do that when we get there? Like if I'll get to the park and I'll bump into you, or I'll go to the park and you guys will decide to come for the day. I would go to the blue umbrella and say, oh, my brother is here. My brother-in-law, my sister-in-law are here. Can you add them to Michael's pass? And they would do it same day. No problem. Right there at the blue umbrella. Are they still going to be able to do that? Because they're saying you have to do it all on video chat now. We don't know. We don't know what is going to happen.
Well, they're going to have to hire a bunch of more people.
I don't know what they're going to do on the phone lines on May 20th. It's going to be awful on May 20th. I'm not looking forward to it.
So stay tuned, because we'll have all the upcoming shenanigans to share with you.
So anyway, that's that, David. But I have some other stuff, I think.
Okay,
I have some fun stuff. I got some fun stuff.
Ooh, fun stuff. I like fun stuff.
Oh, by the way, remember last week when we were talking about where is the pass holder lounge going to be? Mm-hmm. Where I said, last year it was in Sunshine Seasons. Mm-hmm. They just tonight announced that we are going to have VIP pass holder lounge in Morocco, in the back, where Restaurant Marrakesh. And they've used that for the blue, the Medicare Blue lounge during Food and Wine. So it's going to be that. It's going to be back there in Marrakesh. So that'll be nice, because that's air conditioned and that'll be for pass holders during VI pass holder days, which is May 1st to June 26th. We'll have a lounge
and a new magnet,
but they haven't announced it yet.
No, it's going to be the monorail or Tiana, one of those two. Oh,
actually, here's very interesting. it's not until June. The lounge is only open until June 18th. So if you're there the last 2 weeks of June, you're out of luck, even though pass holder days goes till June 26th.
Wow.
This says relax and recharge in the pass holder lounge from May 1st to June 18th in Restaurant Marrakesh in the Morocco Pavilion in Epcot. From noon to 8 p.m., unwind with complimentary snacks and water. So noon to 8 p.m., which is good. That's the heat of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. We'll see.
I've been on the Disney social media platforms.
Okay.
2 people got banned last week.
2 people got banned?
For life. Forever. To go to Disney anymore. They've got banned, yes.
I did hear about one. I don't know about the other one.
Yeah. Well, the other one was, I don't even know how I found out about it, but I saw it somewhere and then I don't know. And then of course I had to dive deep into it. Went down a rabbit hole to see what the whole thing was about. And yeah. But anyway, 2 people. Yeah. One had a Facebook group, kind of recently just started one, and I'm not too sure what happened because he was kind of a happy guy.
I think he wasn't unwell. I think he was unwell.
Well, whatever. I mean, it is what it is, and some things happen, and guess what? He got banned. So 2 people, though. You don't really see that, or
just
you don't see it online.
Behave yourselves, people. Yeah. Behave yourselves. Follow the rules. That is another thing that Disney made quite clear on the disability website, that if they find out you're lying about your disability, you will be banned for life. They say it in very clear letters on the webpage now. So be aware of that. If you're thinking, I'm going to get this pass so I can go through the pass, just think long and hard about whether it's worth getting banned for life so you can get onto a ride 10 minutes faster. Exactly.
It should be a legitimate problem. Something,
Yeah. So, I have some love, Dave.
Ooh. Welcome to another edition of Missed Connections. Or sometimes made connections. This depends on what you want.
This one actually has follow-up. Hi, friends. I'm hoping that the internet and Facebook can do this thing and help me. After all, there are 1.6 million members in this group. On Wednesday, February 28th, 2024, at around 9 p.m., I was at Magic Kingdom in the Lightning Lane for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train by myself. I met a very nice guy who was also riding solo. We chatted for a few minutes while going through the queue, and I asked him if he would ride with me. He obliged. Here's where I need help. After we got off Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, we went our separate ways, and I didn't think to ask him if he wanted to exchange information or at least share our ride photos, which I have. I feel so silly. I've debated on posting this ever since then, but I decided to take a chance and see if maybe someone can help me reconnect with him, or at least share the ride pics if he would like them. Here's a bit of information. His name is Justin. He's a pass holder, and he's gone on a handful of Disney solo trips. If you or someone you know meets that description and was at Magic Kingdom on February 28th, 2024, please let me know. There's follow-up, Dave.
Ooh.
There's follow-up. She posted his picture a few hours later. And apparently, the guy's cousin was in the group and said, "That's my cousin. He's married. Leave him alone." And then this person had a way to find Justin, because through the cousin, she looked at the cousin's friends, found Justin, and contacted him. Even after the cousin said, "He's married, leave him alone." She like Facebook stalked him, went through the cousin to find to find him. So yeah.
Well, we need
And
more
then the
follow-up
cousin
then.
came on. The cousin came on and said, "This lady is crazy. She went through my Facebook, found my cousin, and messaged him anyway after I told her not to." So yeah,
Interesting. Well, we need a follow up on that. If you have
that
any
is
for
the
next week.
follow up. Then she
I know,
dirty
but it's good.
deleted the whole thing,
Okay.
unless or the post might have been taken down by the admins at that point because
Probably.
the cousin might have said this lady's a stalker.
Just when it was getting so good, they have to take it down.
Right. So this is missed connections. Be careful.
Careful
Because people have cousins everywhere. Do you know who has a great cousin on Facebook? Karen Daves, her cousin Jody.
Oh.
She can be snarky and funny, and she's in a bunch of groups with me. She's actually, I think, in the Friends of the Disney Crush now, but she tells it like it is. And I'm like, Karen, your cousin's up to no good again. But actually, I love what she has to say. So
I go by the rule that silence and smiles are two powerful tools.
Well, I heard you haven't been so silent, Dave, according to our Instagram.
Why? What'd I do on Instagram?
I heard you made a connection. You and Deirdre and Veronika.
Oh, yeah. We did. We had a little connection. Yes, we
did. Okay.
Yeah, we had someone that contacted us through various messengers or whatever.
It was Instagram. I found it on Instagram buried because we don't check our Instagram messages. So I can't
remember the last time I even looked at it.
Yeah. So you guys must have been wearing your Disney Crush shirts.
Well,
see, I don't do that. It's very rare that I wear them, especially when I'm out.
Let's before we get too deep into this, let's tell the people what we're talking about.
Okay.
We got a message. I guess Toni-Ann says from Instagram, and the message went something like this: enjoyed hearing every single word from you at Raglan Road yesterday. You are like every other podcast person who ruins everything related to Disney. You were so loud that we couldn't enjoy the music and the show. I mean, she didn't say, but I put that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the message we got. And we tried to figure out who it was.
Right.
This was the day before St. Patty's Day.
Right. She sent us the message on St. Patrick's Day, but I just found it.
Right. And the restaurant was completely packed. I don't know that I've ever seen it that packed. Probably because it was the day before St. Patty's Day.
Right.
And we were a group of 3, and we got sat way in the back corner somewhere where Deirdre and Veronika were on the bench, like on the couch part, and I was sitting on a chair, and I said, "You guys want to sit over here so you can kind of see the performers and whatever?" And they're like, "No, we don't care," because there was literally a wall, and Deirdre and Veronika could not see anything. And then the couch kind of made a turn, a little curve, and there was another couple over there. Well, come to find out, that's who it was. I know it was because I kind of stalked the whole thing, just like that girl did in the other group. I kind of went down the rabbit hole and found her. That's who it was.
Oh my God.
And I know because her husband, and you know what? I'm sorry. He could have been, maybe he had a stroke. Maybe there was something wrong with him. But the reason it caught my attention was because the way he was eating was very disturbing. It's like a train wreck. You can't take your eyes off of it.
Okay.
So I looked and I'm like, and I just looked away. He didn't care about the performers. He didn't care about the music. He could care less about anything going on because he was interested in the food that was in front of him.
Okay.
You have to understand, we're talking about 3 of us that are very laid back.
Right.
I have to wear a hearing aid on one of my ears because I'm hard of hearing on one ear, my ears.
Right.
So I couldn't even hear Deirdre and Veronika sometimes, even with my very, 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 very expensive hearing aid, which is also a Bluetooth, basically a piece of AI in my ear. I still couldn't hear him sometimes because the music was so loud and there was waiters in front of us and people around us talking. I just couldn't hear them. So how could she be that disturbed that she just didn't say, "Hey guys, you're being kind of loud. Can you just put?"
Right.
I just don't understand it.
No, it's very passive aggressive that she decided to complain to you 2 days later instead of just saying something to you at the restaurant. But I just can't imagine that you guys were talking that loud because Raglan Road is so loud.
It is so loud. Yes, it is so loud. And the
I
thing about these restaurants, Toni-Ann, and you know that they pack you in, and you're
Mhm.
kind of sitting close to some people, almost like
Mhm.
you're with them, almost.
Right.
But yeah, where we were so far. She was the last person before the wall before you go outside. Like that's how far
Yeah.
back she
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
We were at the very, very back. And the bar was, that bar at Raglan Road is probably one of
Mhm.
the largest bars,
Yeah.
space wise, anywhere in Disney Springs. And there was not a space to be had in that bar. It was
Yeah.
completely packed. You know what? I got a good view. If she would have just went to the bathroom like I did, I got a great view and a great show. I got to see the performers. Just go get up and walk to the bathroom.
Oh my God. I just
Anyway.
don't, it's just weird because it's the three of you are like the least rowdy people in our group.
Yeah, because I'm the one that if we stop, which we do sometimes when we get to see people, we kind of stop in the middle, and that's one of my
Right.
pet peeves. I'm always the one that go, hey, come on, let's slide over
Let's
here
move
to the
over.
side.
Yeah. You're so respectful, but you do have to be careful when you're wearing your Disney Crush attire, and crushers, you guys too, be aware because you reflect us. But
Yeah, but you do. I that's how I grew up, is respect.
stop
I let
it.
people walk in front of me. I'm always trying to help people up if they need help. I'm the one that give up my seat on the monorail or
Yeah.
wherever on the first one, even if it doesn't have to be an older lady. It could be a young mother or a young.
Right.
I'm always giving my seat
You
up to
always give your
somebody.
seat. And when we get off a ride, you always get off first and help everybody else in your party get off.
Yeah, so I just don't know if it's okay. Could you give me some music, please? Give me some of that.
Oh, okay.
Toni-Ann, it's her loss. She could have got some merch. Oh no, I really don't carry merch I really don't carry merch anymore. It was a great group of friends she could have had with us. She could have come on our group and enjoyed us. She could have made a connection, but she just had a missed connection.
Oh, poor lady. Oh, David. All right.
So
Nice.
anyway, sorry that you missed out on that one, because you could have had some really cool friends.
Yep. Oh, well. Dave, let's see if Danielle's ready for us down there. I see her down there. So hi. So Danielle is with us now, Dave. Where do you live, Danielle? You're on the Pacific time zone.
I'm in Northern California. We're about
2.5
hours north of San Francisco.
Okay. So did you grow up in California?
Yes.
So
I'm still in the small town that I grew up in.
So, but you're far, because you're north of San Francisco. You're far from Disneyland. But did you grow up going to Disneyland?
The first time I ever went to Disneyland, I was 16.
Okay.
It's about
far,
like 10 or 11 hours by car. And I'm one of 5, so we were a pretty big family, and flights weren't all that common.
Yeah.
And I figured it out. I've been only 6 times over like 27 years. So I haven't been that often.
Okay. Well, 6 times is more than a lot of people. We're all very fortunate that we get to go as often as we have. But so that's your Disney story. Were you a big Disney fan growing up, or just?
Well, I think I fall into the category of wanting my happily ever after.
Oh.
Cinderella was the first movie that I ever saw at the movie theater. And then, of course, at that age, everything just becomes Disney. My husband says it ruined me, but
So does mine.
Yeah. So, always a fan of Disney. Always, movies. Even when we could go down there, it's a really big deal.
Yeah. So was this your first venture to Walt Disney World, this trip?
Yes.
When were you here?
We arrived on Thursday, the 21st of March, and we left on Friday, the 29th of March. So we had 2 travel day, a travel day on each side, and then 7 park days.
Oh, nice. And it was prime spring break. That was right before Easter. So must have been very crowded.
So that's a thing. We had prepared ourselves because I'm following groups on Facebook and such, and everybody talking about it's crowded, looking at like the thrill data to see what their opinions were about upcoming crowdsourcing and then past historical information. And we were really prepared for like, you know what, like the reason why we're doing this during spring break is so our kids don't have to miss school. We normally take a vacation in like May or October, but our oldest daughter's in high school now and she has honors classes, and missing a week would just really set her back.
Yeah.
So we prepared ourselves, we braced ourselves. And then of course, in the few days before we got there, I was watching just to see, wait times. And of course, there's a few that have kind of an astronomical wait time, Seven Dwarfs, Rise, like things, the newer things. But overall, the average was like 43 minutes at the peak of the day. And for us at Disneyland, that's your normal line. That's not even a long line. So once we had that mindset of like, hey, this actually might work out for us, we were both prepared, but yet hopeful. And somehow, I don't know if it was a lull or what, but we really, really, really lucked out. And it was like our first 4 days versus our last 3 days were like night and day difference.
Wow.
Are you guys rope drop people, or do you guys just kind of take it easy?
We actually rope dropped, which is ridiculous if you consider that the time had only changed the week before, and you were coming from normally California. 3 hours behind. Yeah, so we're like up and at it like 4 hours before what we're used to. But here at Disneyland, our experience has always been open to close if you want to get everything in. And so we again went with that in mind. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be busy. We need to do what we can. And so we set up our first 4 days to be each individual park with the idea of rope dropping. And so we definitely did. Okay. And our first day was a little rough, but we got the hang of it.
So who did you travel? Who came? Tell us about, you don't have to, if you don't want to give specifics about your family, just tell us about who you came with and where you stayed.
Sure.
Yeah. We want to know if you stayed in the bubble or you stayed outside the bubble.
The bubble's in, right? Like the in crowd. Yeah. We stayed in. So this is terrible. I know you said there's no wrong answers, but I was overruled. It was a 3-1 vote. There's 4 of us here. There's myself and my husband, and then we have 2 daughters. They're 15 and 13. Okay. My husband has always had the dream of going to Disney World. Of course, I did too as a kid, but as an adult, that's realistic. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot of work, and it's not a vacation. It's it's a lot to prepare for, and then it's a lot of hustle when you're there. And Mom kind of wanted a beach vacation where they bring me my food and offer massages for ridiculously low rates. But again, they overruled me, and we actually didn't make it on a vacation last year. We try to go once a year, and for whatever reason, last year didn't work out. Oh, I know what it was. The flights were still outrageous, which of course is still the case. But so we pushed off our vacation last year. And so then last July or so, my husband was like, let's look into Disney World for next year. And of course, we set everybody down. And again, it was a 3-1 vote. They overruled me. Initially, we were planning on like 5 park days. Then it grew to 6 park days. And then when they created the promotion to, stay longer, lower rate kind of thing, we looked into it and actually saved $100 on our package by going an extra day. And it just so happened that our flight was also changed by more than 3 hours, which then allows us to change it by 2 days on either side. And then by flying on a Thursday instead of a Friday, we saved like another $149 that way. So $250 less to go one more day. So the four of us, and we stayed at Riverside in a royal room.
Okay.
Which again was not my choice. It makes it sound like my husband makes all the decisions, and he totally doesn't. He really, really doesn't. But because this is his childhood dream, this is his dream. He always wanted to go, and somehow he stumbled across the royal rooms, and he was sold on it. So I had already picked the resort based on just being middle of the road, not something that we couldn't justify, but also something a little bit more than basic, maybe. I mean, that's at least what I seem to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the royal room, as somebody in my situation where I'm like type A OCD, I was a little intimidated by it just because, you hear all the things that like, oh, there's a lot going on. And truly, yes, there is a lot going on, but there was enough space and enough light that it was really cool. It was, good. I mean, minus the 1980s bathroom. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Did your room have carpet or linoleum floors? Because they're like, some of them have carpet and some of them don't.
Yeah. So we still had a carpet room, which I understand to be older.
Yeah.
But so the other thing is we kind of went back and forth on like Riverview, not Riverview. If we're going to be open to close, like, does it matter? And in the end, when we added that 7th day, we're like, you know what, let's just switch it. Let's just do a woods view. Let's not worry about the river. And then when we got there, without telling us, they upgraded us to a river view.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So it worked out for us. We had a river view in the Oak Manor building, 2nd floor. It was really nice. I was hoping to see an armadillo. That never happened.
Bet you saw a lot of lizards, though.
Yeah.
You saw lizards.
Definitely. Did you see any kangaroos?
I heard. I'm supposed to say yes, right?
No, most people say no. That's my problem.
No kangaroos, no alligators.
Let's talk about your food. Did you eat all your meals in restaurants? Did you get groceries, or how did you deal with dining?
So no groceries for us. Again, with that whole thinking we're going to be in the park open to close, we just really didn't think that we would get much out of having more stuff in our room.
Right.
Beforehand, we reviewed every single restaurant menu for every single restaurant that took reservations. We ultimately decided that there wasn't anything that the 4 of us wanted to make sure that we did. It was something that we didn't want to take away from our time actually at Disney World. Yeah. And at first my thought was we wanted to do the buffet breakfast, like Minnie's buffet breakfast. That's something that we've done at Disneyland. And we know that it offers a variety of simple food that all of us could enjoy. So at first we were thinking we would do that. And we were thinking we would do it really early in the morning and then still be able to like rope drop from the back of the park, or even get in before or at park time. And we learned that, that's probably really difficult to do. So we ended up making a reservation for our last day. So before we departed, so not a park day. Nice. We didn't take up a park day. So that's literally the only reservation that we made.
So that was Cape May Cafe at Beach Club?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you use Disney transportation, or did you Uber or Lyft, or?
Well, because it was our last day and, I knew of, and then by then everybody had been seeing the minivan. Yeah. I booked a minivan to take us.
Splurge for a minivan. That's nice.
I did. It's funny because it was pulling in the parking lot, and we'd seen them from a distance or whatnot, but it was pulling in the parking lot, and I said, "Oh, I want to record this." And my oldest daughter goes, "Is that for us?" Well, but then of course it pulled past us because it doesn't know who it's picking up, and she goes, "Oh, I guess not." And then you can hear in the video my husband go, "It is for us, isn't it?" And so everybody was surprised by that. But for the most part, we did a lot of busing. Like our first night, we water taxied down to Disney Springs.
Nice.
We did use the water taxi a couple times to go to the French Quarter. Buses for most of it. On our second day, we did Hollywood. And at the end of the day, we skylined to Epcot just to be able to say that we did. And then on our last day, this was the post that you had picked up on. Our last day, we went to all of the parks, and essentially we bused to Animal Kingdom, bused to Hollywood, Skyliner to Epcot, monorail to Magic Kingdom. And then we bused from Magic Kingdom back to Hollywood. And then we bused from Hollywood back to Magic Kingdom to catching Fantasmic.
So I'm really impressed because this was your first trip to Disney, and Disney, the landscape, the size, and getting around is intimidating to most newbies. So did you watch like YouTube videos? If you looked at every restaurant menu, it tells me that you're a little bit of a planner. And
oh, I am. I'm definitely a planner. I'm a buyer by day, so I buy things for a living, but my side hobby is to plan, coordinate, facilitate weddings.
Oh, nice.
So very, very much a planner. And again, because, well, for one, we've always heard our whole entire lives that it takes 2 weeks to see the park. And that's not realistic for us, both financially and from a time perspective.
Right.
And so we wanted to make sure that we understood as much as we could ahead of time. So yeah, definitely, joined a Facebook group, joined what one was it? The
Tips and
Walt
Tricks.
Disney World Tips and Tricks. Yeah. So joined that Facebook group and did DFB videos to the point that on our second or third day there, my husband's like, DFB has gone from DFB to BFD because we were doing it. It was so intimidated. It was so intimidating. And
so people don't know that's the Disney food blog, DFB, in case people don't know. So.
That was a big help for us. I drove my family nuts, basically. And I was telling them, so from December on, reality starts to set in, we're passing Christmas, we're making our way into the new year, our trip's coming up. And I went into full overdrive mode of, hey, everybody, we're watching a video. Or, you know what, I would think I understood something like Genie Plus, for example. I would think that I understood it and I would explain it to my husband. And then I would have him read what I read to make sure that I understood it.
Right.
And did as much as I possibly could, knowing that obviously we weren't going to see everything. We weren't going to be able to do everything. And what works for you may not work for me. We knew there would be give and take. And we really did go with the thought of we're going to be waiting in line for an hour and for each ride. And it's going to take us the full 7 days just to hit the top attractions. It kind of one of those things where you prepare, but then also be prepared for a pivot.
Yeah. So that brings me to the reason why I contacted you was you found a little, I don't know how well known it is, the Standby Skipper, which is an app, which if people don't know, it makes your Genie return times for you, right? If I'm explaining it right. You know more about it than I haven't used it. We've been trying to find somebody to use it as a guinea pig to tell us about it. So can you tell us what it costs for this service?
You can pay either $25 per day or you can pay $45 for 7 days. And it's good for 12 people.
Wow. So $45 covers 12 people for 7 days. So you might as well do that.
Yeah. We figured, it's one of those things where it's okay, so we're either going to pay $25 and try it and then have to pay the $45 to finish our 6 days, or we might as well just pay the $45 and just take a gamble. Just take a gamble on what what it is. And I don't know if you've looked at it. The app itself is a basic, a little elementary. So it's one of those things where it's is this even legit?
Yeah.
Is this even?
Well, I'll tell you, thing? I had a friend that was all lined up to do it. He was going to do it. I told him I'd pay for it if he would do it so that we could talk about it on the podcast. And he downloaded it on his phone and he looked at it and he was like, I'm not comfortable. So
I think in my opinion, I think a big deterrent is that you actually have to add Standby Skipper in your My Disney Experience app.
Like a family friend?
Yeah, as one of your people. And even for me, it's what does this mean? What do they have access to? What does this do? What does this mean for me?
So you're not giving them your username and password, because that was one of my worries about it. You're just making them a friend.
Right. Correct.
So they can make passes for you. They can make return times for you.
Yes.
Okay. And we make return times for our friends and family all the time. And you can unfriend them when your trip's over, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. But what you learn is obvious. Well, maybe it's not a bot. I assume it's a bot. It's, it's once I did some research on it, and then there's only like a couple of videos out there about it and about how to use it. There's a few
that's why
videos.
I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. There's some that kind of touch on it within their main video blog, but nothing that like really like lines it out and gives you the full detail. So I was a little unsure. But again, this came from, at the end of people's trips, they follow up in the tips and tricks on the Facebook group. They follow up with like, hey, this is what worked for me. And in it, I was scanning it, and Stand by Skipper was one of like the first paragraphs. And she just said, we Stand by Skipper, we couldn't have done it without you. And then that's what put me on that, like, well, what is this? Like, what is Stand by Skipper? And did the research to discover. So we bought the $45 7-day package. I took screenshots. Oh, because you can only buy, I believe it's 30 days in advance of your first day of arrival.
Okay.
This is when you're able to purchase.
Okay.
So once I was able to buy, I took screenshots of both my Disney Experience app and the Stand by Skipper app, and I sent it to Stand by Skipper, and I said, I think that once I purchase Genie Plus, I'm ready to go, but can you confirm? And they replied back like nearly immediately with like, yep, looks like you're good to go.
So the customer service seems to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so how does it work? When you wake up in the morning, do you tell Stand by Skipper where you're going and what you'd like to accomplish, or do you do that in advance before you even leave home, or how does it work?
So you can only start after you book or after you buy your Genie Plus. So midnight. And again, because we were going spring break and because we are hearing how overly crazy crowded it is, we made a plan. We were doing Friday Epcot, Saturday Hollywood, Sunday Magic, Monday Animal. And we did that again based on just what they were anticipating the crowds to be and what the busiest days were and that kind of thing. So our first day, because we were on California time, when Friday morning hit, we were still awake. So it was easy. 12 a.m., I immediately bought Genie Plus, and then I took to Stand by Skipper. So two things there. One, I hear a lot of people say that you don't need Genie Plus for Epcot. I get it. I see where they're coming from. But for us, I wanted to try Stand by Skipper in a park that most people say you don't even need Genie Plus for. Like I wanted to get to know it, and I wanted to get to know it on our first day rather than being at one of the busier parks that has more to offer. Right. So the major trick is that, or not, I guess it's not even a trick as so much as something that you need to know. It doesn't allow you to prioritize. So if you want Remy's, for example, that was going to be our first Genie Plus pick. I only put Remy's in there. Okay. So 12 a.m. Yeah. 12 a.m. book your Genie Plus. Immediately following, went into Stand by Skipper and said, I want Remy's anytime. I don't care when. Okay. And then go back to sleep. And sure enough, at 7 a.m., while we are virtual queuing for Guardians, we get the notification that Remy's has been booked for you at 9:15 a.m.
Great. See, that's the bot. The bot gets it nice and early, I think.
And it literally, I mean, if it's not 7 a.m. on the dot, it's within seconds. You know what I mean? It's very, very fast. And my husband and I, we put it on one login on both phones, just so that it wouldn't always be me if we needed to change something or, if something wasn't working right. So we headed to Epcot. We were one of the first 50 people in. Started raining on us. Classic. Starts raining on us. Our plan was to rope drop Frozen. Okay. And of course we got over there. We're waiting a minute. What is that? 8:39 or whatever, or it's 8:29. They say, "Oh, Frozen's down, test track's down." So immediately we were like, "Oh no,
the plan's going out the window."
It changes your whole, right? I mean, Epcot, it changes your whole arrangement. Right. So we ended up like rope dropping Mission Space and Living the Land and Soarin', and people were like, what are you doing? But it worked. And so then from there, right? So as soon as Remy's booked, now I can go in and now that I no longer have a priority thinking we were going to rope drop Frozen.
Right.
I went in and put like, I don't know, Test Track and maybe Nemo and Turtle. I went in and put some other things in there.
Right.
Based on like location of the park.
Where you were. So you didn't have to crisscross the park.
Yeah. So that once we were done at Remy's, we could like walk slowly, casually.
Right.
Obviously, then Frozen throws a wrench in that. So I immediately went in, cleared out everything, and just put Frozen in. Mm-hmm. Now that we can't rope drop it, I still want to make sure we get it.
Right.
And of course, as soon as we hit our Remy, so when you scan in your second post,
second tap,
yeah, it immediately, if that's your most recent, which for us it was, it immediately gave us Frozen for like later on that day.
Wow.
So I watched it just to see like, hey, how fast does this work? And you're maybe like 20 steps after your second tap and it's already coming in. So it was really great for us. We did Genie Plus via Standby Skipper for all of the Genie Plus possibilities in Epcot.
Okay.
And we were, of course, that little crisscross back and forth in the beginning, that wasn't part of our plan. Like, that's not a Standby Skipper thing. That's the rides down.
Right.
So we thought like, okay, this is really cool. And then of course you know this, but you know how you can't book your second one until 2 hours after the park opens unless you've already tapped into your cruise.
Right.
Well, that didn't occur to me. At one point it didn't occur to me. I was thinking like, oh, I have to wait every 2 hours. And then here comes the notification that like our next ride was booked.
Right.
And I had to
tapped.
Yeah. And I had to really think like, wait a minute, what just happened? And it was like, oh, because we just tapped in. Okay. And I would have missed that if it hadn't been for Standby Skipper.
The computer didn't do it for you.
Yeah. So immediately, I mean, that's basically our third between Remy's. Remy's was, we did Remy's, Frozen was, but like that's immediately like something that I wouldn't have got if it hadn't been for just the automation. And so we knew right then and there, like, this is good. This is totally going to work for us. And anything that we rope dropped at any park was one thing, but everything that we Genie Plus was Standby Skipper. I think literally by the second day, so we Epcot Hollywood, the second day I sent them a message and said something like, this is something that everybody needs, but you don't want anybody to know about.
Right. Right.
Because we want to keep it to ourselves selfishly. Right. I mean, obviously we're not, we're one of billions of people. So I'm happy to share it and happy to tell people about it. And there's people that have been going to Disney since, and we're like, you absolutely need this. Like, give it a try.
Was there anything it couldn't get for you? I mean, other than the individual Lightning Lane attractions and.
No, even like, so.
It got Slinky. It got everything.
Slinky we had for 9 a.m. So we rope dropped Toy Story Mania and the Alien Swirling Saucers. And we did that because it worked for us in Epcot, right? To go to the ones that are like not so popular. So there we are, the only people on Alien Swirling Saucers.
Right.
And, 8:30
in the morning.
Yeah. And we walked into Toy Story Mania. And then of course we were able to tap in at 8:55 for Slinky. And again, boom, done. Here comes our next Next Genie Plus all secured for us. So I think on that particular day, early entry was 8:30. And by 9:10, we had walked in casually. We didn't rush. We had done Toy Story Mania, Alien Swirling Saucers. We got pictures with Jessie and Woody. Then we got pictures at the Toy Story sign with photographers at both. And we stopped there to get a little snack for breakfast, all by 9:15.
Wow. And then you rode Slinky.
Yeah, that was 8:55.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 8:55. We rode Slinky. Like, and this is still like in both cases, like Remy's Frozen, Slinky. This is at a time when people are already not able to get it. So I think it was a lull, but I know that people weren't getting these rides.
Yeah. It was a bot that was fast as lightning that was getting it for you.
Yeah.
That's amazing, Dave.
I know.
People should, yeah.
I know you said that your husband is really looking forward to this trip. Or actually 3 out of the 4. You not so much, I guess. But was there anything that blew you guys away that you kind of really wanted to see and it kind of blew you away? Or did anything kind of disappoint you at all?
So we all hands down agree that Guardians lives up to the hype. I think you guys agree with that too.
Yes,
like it definitely lives up to the hype. The first day we did the virtual queue, and I think our return time was like 10:15 or something. And then that evening, my youngest was like, "Can we do it again? Can we do it again?" And I told my husband, I was like, "Let's just look." So I opened the app. There's nothing available. He opens the app. It was available, and I want to say it was like $14 a person.
Okay.
So we got it, and then a couple days later, maybe it was on our 5th day, we did virtual queue again. So we ended up riding Guardians 3 times, and we got different music each of the 3 times.
Oh, cool.
So that made it, I think that made it even better. So that definitely lived up to the hype for sure. And then the other thing was try Circle D at the ranch. Like, we're out here in the country. I grew up with horses. My youngest daughter is very, very much into horses. Literally looking at a saddle in my kitchen right now. We decided to go over there to do the carriage ride because we've already walked the property at Riverside. So we decided to go over there and, of course, tour the barn, the stables first before our carriage ride. And I mean, I'm not even a horse person, and I can appreciate how incredible that place is. It's absolutely incredible. And it's like, even if you're not a horse person, it's amazing to see. And, of course, it smells like horses, but it almost kind of really doesn't. Like, it's so clean, and that was also incredible. And of course, the carriage ride there, because again, I wanted to see an armadillo. Still didn't happen.
Oh gosh, you got at Fort Wilderness. She was at Fort Wilderness. If people don't know where the Tri-Circle D Ranch is, but that's surprising that you didn't see an armadillo at Fort Wilderness.
Yeah. The rain had come in, so a storm had come in. We had a 6:30 in the evening reservation, and by about 5 o'clock, from like about 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, it was storming pretty hard. So I don't know what armadillos do in that kind of situation. Maybe the weather had something to do with it, but saw a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of Easter decorations, but didn't see the armadillo. But that between Guardians and the ranch, I mean, those, again, the Guardians definitely lived up to the hype, and the ranch was just phenomenal.
Yeah, if I'm a horse, I want to be at Disney.
Yeah,
they take care of me.
Totally, like and that's actually one of the topics. So we spoke to obviously our driver, and then we also spoke to the manager, as well as questioning some of the cast members as they were getting the horses ready, because they get their own horses ready. So if they're the driver, they know that like they got their horse ready. Mm-hmm. They know that everything's connected how it should be. And, they're in charge. They have it from start to finish. And that was one thing that we talked about with them, is how great it would be if you are a horse person, like my daughter just had stars in her eyes, how awesome it would be to work at a place where integrity was never a question. Like, that those animals are being taken care of. Like there's nobody's making personal decisions. Nobody's deciding if a horse gets overworked or not. Like there's routine, there's programs. Like the horses, they rotate them out so that they almost have like a doctor schedule where they're on for 3 days and off for 4 days.
Oh, okay.
So they totally take care of them. And of course all the staff members have their favorites, but it was an incredible experience. And had we not had 7 days there, we would have missed it, right? Because it's not, you got to go out of your way. It's not really high priority.
Right.
It's not fun for the whole family.
Yeah.
my husband and my oldest daughter are so allergic to grasses and haze that, and then the storm starts whipping up. It was an experience for everybody, but it's pretty impressive.
Well, how good for you to do that, to step outside your box a little bit and to explore some other stuff, because a lot of people don't do that. And especially coming from the other coast over here, Toni-Ann was talking earlier that she was impressed by the way your transportation was at the park, and that you just went right into it and didn't let it bother you too much. Did any of that, I mean, obviously it didn't intimidate you at all, because Disneyland could fit in the parking lot of Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And now you've got 4 different parks that you're going to. That seems to me that would be overwhelming for somebody.
Yeah, that's impressive that she.
And think about it: the resorts at Disneyland, or the hotel stays, the resorts are not like Main Street at Disney World and Magic is the distance of which the resorts are from the main gates, and then the California Adventure and Disneyland, like again, their main gates are so close. Like you could literally mix lines if you didn't know which one to get in, because their gates are that close. So, I mean, the transportation actually didn't intimidate us so much, because again, I think the very first picture that I had saved on my phone is the transportation routes.
Was there any misses? Did anything like not live up to your expectations?
So this is like a great debate, right? This is one of those things where it seems really minor, but I'm not a fan of the housekeeping.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of the every other day thing. It really takes away from that vacation feel. Yeah,
because you're paying a lot of money for that room.
Yeah, the prices definitely didn't decrease, right? Mm-hmm. And we, my husband and I are both, we're big people. Like he's 6'5", 330 pounds. I'm 5'9", 170 pounds now that I came back from Disney. So we are used to a California king bed.
Right.
And then of course for this trip, we go down to 2 queens. The girls share, we share a room. So our bed isn't exactly tidy, and I really don't want to make it. And then the whole situation of like, if you're going to have me make a bed, the least you could do is give me a fitted sheet. Right. Because I don't know how to make the bed like they make the bed so well with 2 flat sheets. But we're okay. California drought for 100 years, all that. We're okay with reusing towels, but there's nowhere to put them. Mm-hmm. They're for 4 people to reuse their towels. And I'm a person that showers morning and night.
Right.
So you've got towels hanging over the top of your shower bar. You've got towels hanging on the door. And then you have another towel hanging on the one rack that's actually in the room for towels.
Right.
And that's just not like I will totally reuse it, but give me a place to put it. And again, like I don't know. I mean, I should say, because I know that there's people that stay very high end luxury, and that's not what we do. I mean, I think our last hotel stay was a Best Western. It's not like we're like super elite. Mm-hmm. Got to have the nicest hotel, but even the Best Western comes and turn like they make your bed and they turn down your bed. And the other thing that I had heard was that the refills, like the shampoo, conditioner, body wash, that those quote unquote are always empty. And when I'm on vacation, if it's a scent that I like to use it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. My hair's going to be in a ponytail anyway. I don't it's very long. I don't, but I don't need it I don't need like a bougie product. I want that smell, that different scent. And sure enough, on day 5, we ran out of body wash.
Oh gosh.
And I wouldn't say, the size of it, like we shouldn't have run out of body wash at
It should
all.
have been full.
Yeah. So then it was like, okay, this is, come on. Even, and they know that, like, if you refill before the next person stays, like they know we're staying there for the full 8 nights or however many nights it was. But that, as superficial as it sounds, was a totally not so great for me, because it just takes away from that vacation feel. And it, like, I don't need somebody to turn down my sheets or anything like that. Like, I don't need somebody to touch my stuff twice, but I just, even if it was, they're not going to do anything but give you fresh towels, make your bed, and take out your garbage. Like, I don't need you to wipe down the sink and the toilet and I don't need you to vacuum every day. Like, I don't need all of that, but those things, towels, make the bed, take out the garbage, that makes a really big difference. And to not have that, and the price that you're paying, like, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And
yeah, I'm with you on the towels, because that's a big one for us. I just give me some fresh towels and some, that's it. Just give me some fresh towels.
At the least, like, give us 8 towers every other day, at the absolute least. But that was a bummer for me. And again, like, we were hardly in the room. So it's not like a make it or break it kind of thing, but it just takes away from that. Like, we're on vacation. I don't have to straighten my bed, or we're on vacation. Of course I had my own products, but I shouldn't have to, like, holler for somebody to, hey, bring me my body wash.
I certainly really thought she was going to say that Frozen was a big letdown for her. I really did think she was going to say that.
Well,
but you love Frozen, Dave.
I do. I have a better appreciation for it now, but
okay. So, can we have a little tangent? I don't know how much time you guys have.
No, it's fine. We love tangents.
The last time, so the girls are 13 and 15 now. Well, the last time that we went to Disneyland, they were 4 and 6. And we had to rope drop everything Frozen. Like, we had to rope drop the Frozen sing-along one day, and the next day we had to rope drop the meet and greet with Elsa and Anna. So, like, we've been there. That was Halloween costumes, the princess. Like, we've definitely been there. It was, our girls were that age when it came out. So it's all the rage. And now, fast forward this many years later, to see how much of a focus Elsa and Anna are in every single park. Even my daughter, who is an absolute fanatic, was like, what is going on? Like, where are Mickey and Minnie? Like, Elsa and Anna have taken over.
Did you go see characters while you were there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
we did.
Because
some of them you can Genie Plus.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we did that. There were a few that we caught just by chance. We were really fortunate in Hollywood that first day. Donald and Daisy, I think there was only 2 people ahead of us. And then Chip and Dale, there was like 4 people ahead of us. As I said, Jesse and Woody, like, those were, the 3 of those were all just chance encounters that worked out really.
That's wonderful, because
really well
they build up a line later in the day, Jesse and Woody and all them at the Toy Story.
Well, that was our whole goal with actually with Hollywood as well as Magic, to go to the areas where, like, maybe the little kids aren't quite awake yet, because we know that, like, Teacups is going to have a 2-hour wait later, and we know, like, let's just go do it with that thought in mind, that, like, there's not going to be as many kids right now as there will be in 2 hours. And it worked.
So, I meant to ask you something when we were talking about Stand by Skipper. It just came to me. Sure. So with Stand by Skipper, can you tell it that you're not going to the park till later? Like,
oh yes. Okay. Good.
Because I maybe don't want to rope drop, but I still want to get some later return times for when I do get there at 10 o'clock or noon or whenever I'm rolling into the park.
Totally. So you have a choice of any time. So it's going to book the first available time, no matter what it is. And then obviously you can go to your My Disney Experience app to try to revise it if you want to or need to. Then you have morning, which I believe is park open until noon.
Mm-hmm.
You have as soon as possible, which is if the return time's within 2 hours.
Okay.
And then you have a nighttime, or you have an afternoon one, which is, I believe is like 12 to 4.
Okay.
And then you have a or a 4 p.m. to close.
Cool.
So you have several options. On the first 4 days when we were hitting each park for the first time. I just did as soon as possible. And again, because I was booking in those buckets, it worked really well for us because we were focused on each area of the parks. On our last day, when we were hitting all 4 parks in one day, I was specific. So for like the first one, when I knew we were going to be at Animal Kingdom first, I set those for as soon as possible.
Right.
But then we knew we weren't going to ride anything in Epcot. Okay. So I then skipped to like afternoon in Hollywood.
Okay.
And was able to get like Tower of Terror for 2 p.m.
Cool.
And then everything else we just did from Florida Park close. We did like Thunder Mountain Railroad, Space Mountain, Meeting Mickey, PhilharMagic. So I pushed all of those because we knew that we were going to end up at Magic at the end. So all of those I requested for just parked the 4 p.m. to close. And it worked. Like I said, anything that we didn't rope drop or virtual queue was by Genie Plus.
I'm thinking I might try this in June for my trip with Mandy. So yeah, that's really wonderful.
Did you do it again?
Here's the thing. While we were there and excuse my language, we're walking there. So we're walking and we're making such good progress. I think that in Magic on our first day, we had done either 12 or 14 rides before noon. So we were doing really well. So at first our thought is like, okay, we don't ever need to come back, right? Because we're making such good progress.
Because you do everything right.
Yeah, maybe we really don't need 2 weeks here. But then when looking back and as it started to end, then it was like, oh, well, we didn't do this and we didn't do that. And now that we know about this, we'd really like to do that. Like, I think it was from you guys that I learned about the fireworks from the water.
Yeah, the fireworks cruise. Yep.
Yeah, and that's something that that would have been a great experience and something that we would have considered that. That's something that we could have done. So there's things that there's things that you learn along the way. And then there's so many things that I've learned after the fact that it's like, well, now I would like to go back. And yes, I would definitely Genie Plus and I would definitely stand by Skipper, but I would do kind of like what we were just talking about that we did for the last day, where I would pick noon to 4 or 4 to close and go lollygag. There's a few things like lanterns in Magic at the Tangled restroom.
Right.
By the time we actually made it over there, that was the longest line. We wanted to it was our last night. We wanted to accomplish other things. So we had to make the choice of not getting it, which is crazy because I think I have over 400 pictures from my memory maker. So it was something that was a bummer to let go of.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But I would just like to go slower because we definitely went fast. So I would like to go back and I would like to not focus on those main attractions because we've done it. Of course, there's some that we would definitely do over. Like, of course, we're going to go to Guardians. Of course, there's things that we would definitely do again, but I'd like to do the stuff that we didn't do. And I would like to go slow.
I hate to tell you, in a few years, the girls are going to be out of the house. An adult trip is a completely different experience because then you just take in what you want to. It's a whole different trip. So think about that for the future.
Yeah. What was your favorite park?
Yeah, so it's very easy for the three of them, my husband and the girls, hands down, Animal Kingdom, no hesitation. I'm definitely torn, but I think because we don't have Animal Kingdom or Epcot, of course they're vastly different, but there's so many similarities between Magic and Hollywood.
Right.
Here to Disneyland and California Adventure. I would have to say Animal Kingdom because it had everything. Like hands down, best food. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. We experienced that ourselves. And then now, since then, I know that that's a thing. And for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, so I think overall, well-rounded, something that we hadn't experienced before Animal Kingdom. So it's for all four of us.
We didn't really talk about the food much. You said you just had one table service, but how was the quick service? I know quick service at Disneyland is usually better than at World, but you did find a few places that were good.
So I had what I thought was a great perspective on this, but then, like I said, I've listened to a few of your guys' episodes and I'm now one of those people. But the other thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to go to the Space 220 lounge.
Oh, yeah.
There was conflicting information. Like some say you can make a reservation. Some say you can't. We found that you couldn't, but we didn't want to go to the restaurant. Like we didn't want the restaurant menu. Yeah. We wanted more. We wanted something, more basic. And we kind of had in our mind, like, well, we'll go have a drink and appetizers so that we're also not sucking up 2 hours of our time. Right. We literally walked over there at 12:30. So everybody's like, don't eat lunch at lunchtime, right? We walk over there at 12:30. I asked the guy if there was any possibility of sitting in the lounge, and he asked if our entire party was there. And at that moment, we weren't. We were split up. The other two had stopped to get popcorn, so we were only a few minutes ahead of them. And I said, no, we're almost here. And he said, okay. He's like, well, right now I can seat you all together, but when the rest of your party gets here, it might be that I have to split you up. And we were like, that's fine. That's no problem. Like, this is amazing that we're going to get in. So then the other two come from getting their popcorn and we went right up. And then, so this is cool too. They actually sat the four of us together all in a row at the bar. And here in California and anywhere else we've been, like Jamaica, Mexico, kids are not allowed to sit at the bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our kids have never sat at a bar. They've sat at a kids bar in the kids pool in Jamaica that doesn't serve alcohol, but they've never sat at the bar. So even just that, as wild as it sounds, was really cool that we all got to sit at the bar and just take in the scene. And it's 12:30 and we know that we shouldn't even be able to get a seat at this time. Right. But we were able just to walk right in, and it was that the food was really good there, that it didn't disappoint us at all. We definitely had some favorites though. My husband was Yak and Yeti, the chicken fried rice and egg rolls.
Okay.
And I think he did that twice. I think he did that on our Animal Kingdom day and our last day. And the corn dog at Sleepy Hollow. Those were his two favorites. For my oldest, my youngest, and myself, we could totally beignet all day. We knew that going into it. We knew that was something that we would have easy access to. Mm-hmm. And we didn't start getting it until I think it was our after our second park day. And so my favorite there was just the basic beignet with chocolate sauce. Mm-hmm. My oldest, hers was the basic beignet with caramel sauce. And my youngest was the cinnamon and sugar beignet.
Okay.
And so but I feel like those are like in a category of it's like a category of its own. Yeah. It's just a different thing.
So did you were walked over from Riverside to French Quarter, or?
We did. So a couple of times we walked there and back. Okay. Another time we walked there and took a water taxi back. Another time we took a water taxi there and walked back. But because the pool was still down at the time at the French Quarter, they also offered like a golf cart.
Oh, nice.
And so we took that back a couple times. We would just get off the bus there, like at the end of the night, just get off there because they're open until like 11.
Right.
So we'd get off the bus there and then either walk back or take the golf cart. So it worked. Cool. It worked for us that way. Cool. But my husband didn't come back with anything that he didn't care for. The oldest did not like the nachos at is it Pico's or Pecos, Bill?
Pecos.
Oh yeah, Pecos Bill.
Pecos? Yeah, she did not care for the chicken nachos there. And my youngest pretty much lived off of soft serve and popcorn at every park.
Good.
And say what you want, but the popcorn in Hollywood is by far the best.
Okay. That's good to know.
they're different. They're definitely different. And
All right.
Hollywood is definitely movie theater type popcorn.
Did you get the refillable bucket so that she could have it
Yeah, we did.
cheaper every day? Good.
Yeah, we definitely did.
And if I had known that she really liked soft serve, I would have given you a good hint that Club Cool and Epcot has the best soft serve ice cream.
Oh man,
in all the parks.
These are the things, right?
And Andipure. Andipure is not bad in Animal Kingdom.
That's Animal Kingdom, the truck and Animal Kingdom by Yeti.
By Everest.
It's like a painted
like a little
bus.
food truck. Like a little food truck.
We went to one that was just before you went into Dino Land.
Okay, that one's good too. Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't know these things. So my youngest, surprisingly, her least favorite was the buffalo chicken sandwich from ABC.
Okay.
Which is really surprising because she's definitely a wings person and she's a buffalo dip with everything.
Yeah.
She didn't care for it.
Well, Dave just had a review from his daughter's boyfriend. It used to be one of our favorites, but he had it recently, right? Corey said it wasn't as good, right?
Yeah, and he's had it before, and I actually started making it myself for years now. I've been making it for camping trips and all that kind of stuff, and everybody loves it. In fact, I'm making it this weekend for my nephew who's going into the Air Force, leaving this Monday. And that's one thing he said. He said, "Uncle Dave, I want you to make that for me." So I'm making it for him. But yeah, it's changed. I think the recipe has changed or something. It's not as good as it used to be.
Like it left and then came back, right? Like it's only recently come back. I don't think it's been there all along.
I don't know. It was at Woody's Lunchbox when they first brought it, and then they moved it to ABC. But it was good at ABC until recently. So I don't know what they did.
Yeah. Something's changed with the recipe.
But I think I'm along the lines with you though, that I make a really good buffalo chicken dip. And I think that's what my daughter has in mind, that like my buffalo chicken dip was going to be in between bread.
Right. But now you can do that. You can make a grilled cheese with buffalo chicken dip.
Right. Yeah. And so for me, again, putting the beignets in their own little world, Flame Tree, the French fries with pulled pork and cheese, which that's literally what it's called. It's literally called French fries with pulled pork and cheese. Okay. That to me, that was one of the best things. But of course we liked the the crispy fried dumplings and the seasoned fries.
Oh yeah. And that little stand, Mr. Kamal's. Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Kamal's, like that's another one that we did twice. The only thing that I didn't care for that I tried in Animal Kingdom was the breakfast lumpia, the
pineapple. I didn't like that either. And I tried that in February for the first time and I didn't like it either. And people rave about it. So,
and I'm kind of questioning too, like, is East Coast cream cheese different than West Coast cream cheese? Because like in the buffalo chicken sandwich, as well as in that lumpia, it's just not as, it's like lighter and creamier, almost like it's whipped and it's not as much of a flavor. So for me, like warm cream cheese with pineapple, it just, it didn't work for me. Yeah. The other three,
it might be the distributor Disney's using.
Maybe. So, but some things that we did try, like we tried that like sausage pancake sandwich in Pandora with the guava paste. And that was really good. Okay. And then the thing that I was very hesitant to try, which I actually ended up going back for, were the cheeseburger spring rolls.
Cheeseburger spring rolls at Magic. Yeah.
Yeah. And we happened to be sitting down for fireworks and the family next to us was like, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, this is going to sound weird, but it's a thing and it's actually not bad." And the husband ran off and got some and came back and they all liked them too. So,
cool.
I mean, people really like them. Yeah. But I feel like we had, well, first of all, so to actually rewind all the way back to that, to the beginning of that was listening to you recently.
Yeah.
So at first, the first 4 days that we were there, we could just walk up to any quick food service, just walk up, no problem, super fast. I think it was on the second day at Hollywood where the lady was like, "You know what? It's like a 30-minute wait if you stand in line, but it's a 2-minute wait if you mobile order." And so that was our first experience with mobile order. And from then on, if we could mobile order, we did. Yeah. But I'm like, kind of ashamed to say that we used it how you don't want us using it, where we would go get a seat. Like we would order, we would say that we were there. We would go get a seat and we'd wait. But I can assure you, it was never in a full area. Like it was never full. There were places to sit. But looking back now, I'm like, oh yeah, I could see where
it's okay.
It's like a luxury.
Everybody does it. But it's just frustrating in the moment because I had a kid with me and I couldn't let him sit by himself because he's handicapped, and so
yeah.
But I get it. But everybody does.
But I can see where you're coming from, and I would like if we didn't have our food yet and we saw somebody with food, we're not going to just sit there. But I definitely know that people would. Admittedly, I went from, like I said, when we were in the park, like, oh, we don't need to come back to this, to then like, oh, it would be really cool to stay deluxe and like have more time that
at the resort
that we don't currently get. And then I even went so far as I think it was 2 days ago where I went on just to see like absolute value price, like what would the absolute value price be? And it came full circle to like, yeah, we won't be going back for a while. Yeah. But we, I mean, for perspective, economy refundable flights, and we do this because in all of our previous vacation packages, flights were included and covered by insurance. And we got hit pretty hard with COVID. We were supposed to go to Turks and Caicos, and they closed everything. So we ended up experiencing insurance as far as having to get refunded and whatnot. So now with most places separating airfare out, because nobody wants to deal with that portion, and understandable that like even that part of our refund took like 8 months. Wow. Which is fine. But I could see why like a place like Disney doesn't want to deal with it anymore. Right. Or, why places have decided that they're not putting that as part of their packages. Last August, when we got serious and I started looking, I was able to find us direct flights for the four of us coming in at $600 less than any other flight with a connecting.
Wow.
Yeah. And for us at that point, it's like, ever since COVID, you hear about canceled flights and delayed flights, more common than not. So for us to try to maximize this situation as far as like not wanting to have a delay or not wanting to have a canceled connecting flight, I booked it immediately. And like I said, at the time it was $600 less than anything else total, not per person, total. Right. I never went back to see where flights ended up price wise later, because that's like looking at wedding dresses after you already have one.
If you already picked one.
Yeah, you just don't do that. But for perspective, it's $3,000. Yeah. So like just right out the top for us to fly was $3,000. That doesn't include luggage. That doesn't include parking. That doesn't include any of that. So like right out the gate, we get hit with this massive airfare that just that in itself is really hard to swallow, especially when you know that 4 years ago it was like $1,500 for 4 people to fly.
It's a hard pill to swallow for sure.
Yeah. So I've gone full circle. We're never coming back. We could come back at a really nice resort, or we could go value. And I'm assuming that someday we'll get there, but it will probably be like when we have grandkids, unless I win like one of the sweepstakes or something. We'll go back someday and. We'll see.
If you see Danielle in the parks, that means she hit the lotto.
Well, this is refreshing because obviously they had a great trip. This could have been a disaster, but all your due diligence on looking into the DFB and Disney Food Blog and all that kind of stuff, and listening to some podcasts, it really kind of helped you guys navigate the parks. And man, it sounds like you guys had an amazing trip.
Yeah. And Standby Skipper was the sleeper hit of this trip, right?
Yeah. I don't think, I'm confident just knowing that I had missed what that second, or I guess that would have been our third. Whatever it was, our second or our third Genie Plus on that first day. Just knowing that was like, okay, it already.
And you probably wouldn't remember the next day either.
No, and I wouldn't have, because I wouldn't have known, right? And I knew, because I knew all the rules, but when you're in the moment and you're doing the thing, you just don't.
Right.
You don't have the same focus. And of course there's so much to look at and there's so much to see. And
Yeah.
I was really, really happy with it. And throughout the day, you can see so many people on their phone and lines. And they're doing things, right? Maybe they're modifying, maybe they're mobile food ordering, whatever it is. But I just felt like that was something that I didn't want to do. Like I wanted to be in the moment as much as I possibly could. And because I am the planner and because I am the person, these three just show up there expecting me to know all the things, I wanted to enjoy it as much as I possibly could. And I really think that Stand by Skipper made a huge, huge difference in what we were able to get accomplished and the fact that I didn't have to do it. Like they could probably do some type of scenarios where somebody uses Stand by Skipper and somebody doesn't. And I bet my phone usage is nothing in comparison to somebody that's using it. And for $45 for 7 days, I mean, at the big picture, that's nothing. And then if I went through and totaled up the number of rides that we attained from it,
right,
it's probably like pennies.
Yeah.
Great endorsement for Stand by Skipper. And the name's pretty cool too. I kind of like the name.
Yeah. So, well, let's hope Disney doesn't put a kibosh on it, because Disney has a habit of getting rid of things that we like.
Yeah.
But so this is my thought, right? With because rumors kind of circle about like, oh, if you have trouble and you have to get help with your app, you need to delete it so that a cast member doesn't see it. We didn't ever experience that, and I actually didn't hear that until after. Because I'm a rule follower, it probably would have made me paranoid. It probably would have been something that would deter me. Again, it's rumor. I don't know it for fact. But I have a feeling that like it won't be long until Disney does it themselves.
Like a pay service.
Right. Like they're going to, and I don't know, are they going to make their own? Because look at Lyft and Minivan, right?
Right.
Rumor has it they're going to come out with their actual own part of their My Disney Experience app. That's the rumor for the minivan. But like, why wouldn't they do the same thing for this? Like, because people's biggest complaint about Genie Plus isn't that they have to pay for it; it's that they have to navigate it.
Right. So it's not easy.
I would think that Disney would take it over before they would squash it completely.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a learning curve with the whole Genie Plus.
Absolutely.
And I didn't have to learn it.
Yeah, you didn't. You just let Stand by Skipper take care of it.
Yeah. Once you know that, like if you want a priority, that's the only thing that can be in your queue. So once you know that, and then once you like determine your plan, what's your plan? Like, do you want to make sure you hit all of the big attractions, or do you want to hit the parks by area? Like once you figure it out, or like if you don't care, you could literally plug them all in and
crisscross all day.
Yeah, but you can modify if you want to play that. If you want to play that game, if you want to do that.
Yeah.
The only time that we did that was on our last day, when I just was able to push things out later.
Yeah.
Just to give us more time at going slow in other places.
That's awesome.
But it was good. It was really good. I think that overall we kind of do things different. Like if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do as much as we can. And we came away from it like it was beyond our expectations, right? Because we had prepared ourselves for it to be so busy, and we had prepared ourselves to wait in long lines and maybe not get to do everything we wanted to do. So the fact that we were able to genie everything, and then
that's amazing.
Like the Animal Kingdom, for example, when we rope dropped the Triceratops spins, Dinosaur, and Everest. I think we went on Everest like 3 or 4 times in a row. And then later on that afternoon, I still genied it, right? Because we could, and Stand by Skipper was doing it for me. So it's not like something I had to try to do. But it's genius. It's pretty genius, and it worked out well for us.
Danielle, thank you so much for joining us and coming on and sharing your experience with us. Really enlightening, and maybe some of our friends can learn from you and try Stand by Skipper on their next trip.
You got anything to plug? You got an Etsy or your travel agent or anything you want to plug?
Oh my goodness. No, but is anybody hiring? But yeah, no, nothing exciting to plug. Nothing
All right. Well, I gave you the chance.
Can I tell you guys one thing though? Can I tell you about my shirt? So I know we're not doing video.
Yeah.
About my shirt.
She's got a Carl and Ellie shirt from Up, in case for our listeners.
My husband,
adorable.
The guy that I described earlier, big guy, huge, ridiculous beard. It's absolutely nauseating. Every single park, so Epcot, Hollywood, Magic, every single character, every single cast member, random strangers, everybody complimenting his beard. Everybody. Nice. Great beard, wonderful beard. Oh, great beard. Like, what kind of product do you use? Which he like washes it with Per Plus. It's purely out of laziness. So everywhere, all the characters, everybody. Jesse's like pointing to the mural with showing the beard. It's like he's getting
the prospector.
He's getting all this attention. So then I wore this to Animal, and I was the star of the show.
Oh, nice.
It was the only day. It was the only day that he didn't get all the compliments, and I started ego here, tooting my own horn. By like noon, I had 7 compliments.
Wow!
So, and it just kept stacking. And then when Minnie and Mickey complimented me, I was like, "That's it, I'm done." Like this shirt was, and I got to see Kevin, and I got some major squawks from Kevin. Like,
nice.
like over, like, oh my gosh! And then everyone around, like, where did you get that shirt? It's a Disney shirt. It wasn't like a secret find or anything, but.
You had to knock him down a few notches, I see.
That's right.
Yeah, I was like, this is the shirt I need to wear to get to have
all the attention off of him, right?
Yeah, but that was really cool too, and really didn't see anything like it. I'm sure you guys have been so many times that you have, but I didn't ever see it repeated. Where there was a lot of shirts that you did see repeated, so I decided that today, even though we're not doing video, that I would still throw it on for the occasion because this was my one claim to fame.
That's wonderful.
So thank you.
All right, David. Oh, you're welcome. Right. Thank you.
All right, Toni-Ann, you got anything else?
I don't know.
No, is that it? All right. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much again, and we really do appreciate it. So I guess that's going to do it for this week's Disney Crush podcast. So until next week, say goodbye, you guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
I think that's it. All right.